First time starring and directing
Yeah, what was I thinking?
a
What was I
film.
thinking?
How do you even direct yourself? That's what was going through my mind because you just nailed it every scene.
You surround yourself with, I had an incredible team, and an incredible group of women around me. And honestly, directing myself, a lot of that had to do with, the brilliance of Blake Lively. She was so generous as an actress. And there's so many times where she would whisper something to me and it would really change the way that I thought about something.
Hey everyone! Today I bring you a story that goes far beyond headlines. A real-life courtroom drama full of emotional turmoil, shocking revelations, and a battle that could redefine everything you think you know about Blake Lively. Yes, the glamorous actress beloved by millions now finds herself in the eye of a storm. A legal fight where every detail, every claim, and every moment carries immense weight. This is not just another celebrity lawsuit. This is a gripping saga of power, pain, secrets, and a desperate search for truth. From the very beginning, Blake Lively stepped into this lawsuit with serious allegations. She claimed that on the set of her film, she faced harassment and retaliation so severe that it shattered her emotionally and psychologically. She described a campaign orchestrated to destroy her reputation, a vicious and deliberate attack not only on her career, but on her very well-being. These claims were far from trivial. They held the potential for millions in damages and threatened to topple powerful figures behind the scenes. However, as the case progressed, an unexpected twist emerged. The court ordered Blake to produce her medical and mental health records, vital evidence to substantiate her claims of emotional distress. In any lawsuit where emotional harm is alleged, such documentation is standard and essential. But Blake refused. Repeatedly, she declined to provide the names of doctors, therapists, or any treatment notes. No evidence was offered. Imagine the atmosphere in that courtroom. Tension thick in the air, all eyes on Blake, waiting to see the proof of her pain. But none came. How could a star claiming debilitating emotional distress refuse to reveal any medical proof? The defense seized upon this, arguing that without medical evidence, Blake's claims were on shaky ground. After all, how can one convince a jury of profound emotional suffering without any professional treatment or diagnosis? Then came a bombshell. Blake withdrew her emotional distress claims, but without prejudice. This phrase means she reserved the right to bring these claims again later, in this or another court. It's like stepping back but keeping the option to strike again. This move puzzled many legal experts and observers. Why make such bold claims and then retreat when asked to prove them? Was it a strategy to avoid scrutiny, or an implicit admission that the claims might not hold up?
And I'm so grateful we have Ron back. Welcome back, Ron. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Andy. I hope all's well with you.
Yes, we're doing good. Thank you. I want to get into this because this dropped last night, and thank you for parking and making time, as you always do, to react to these crazy filings. It's just nonstop with the Blake Lively story.
The courtroom became a stage for raw emotions. Reports say Blake's eyes filled with tears, moments of vulnerability exposed as the trial dragged on. But behind these emotional displays was a harsher reality. The court demanded facts and proof, and Blake seemed unwilling or unable to provide them. Meanwhile, the defendant's lawyers pressed relentlessly, demanding full disclosure of any medical or mental health professionals Blake consulted. Treatment notes, diagnoses, authorizations, all standard and necessary. Yet Blake's side resisted fiercely, filing motions to shield this information from public view, heightening suspicion about what might be hidden. Outside the courtroom, the contrast was stark. Blake, who claimed intense emotional pain, was publicly active, promoting films, attending events, posting joyful social media moments, launching business ventures. This vibrant public image clashed with her portrayal of a woman shattered by trauma. The defense highlighted this discrepancy to question her credibility and suggest her emotional distress claims might be exaggerated or fabricated.
But it's interesting, as to summarize, correct me if I'm wrong here, we're looking at a filing from both Friedman as well as here from Lively, an email they attached where she is attempting to withdraw. Here's the email effectively. Sorry, I'm making sure you can see it here. Here it is. She is trying to partially dismiss without prejudice, basically her emotional distress, all that stuff. Can you sort of explain what we're looking at and what this request from, before we get into the craziness of it, what is Blake actually requesting here?
Digging deeper, Blake accused the defendants of masterminding a covert digital campaign to smear her, a multi-layered, coordinated effort designed to destroy her reputation and silence her complaints. She painted herself as a lone fighter battling a powerful machine, a narrative that captured public sympathy. Yet, as the case wore on, cracks in Blake's story grew more visible. She began withdrawing her most serious claims, including those related to harassment and unsafe working conditions. Without medical evidence to support her emotional distress claims, her case appeared to unravel, as if she was quietly dismantling her own accusations. This retreat raises critical questions. If Blake cannot prove she suffered emotional distress or that the defendants created an unsafe workplace, how can she convince the court and jury of her initial allegations? Emotional distress claims often drive the largest financial awards, potentially millions. Walking away from them risks losing everything.
Sure. So Blake has a bunch of legal theories or claims in her current complaint. And at any point, she can dismiss one or a combination of them as she sees fit. In federal court, it has to be stipulation to dismiss, which means the other side has to agree to the form of how the dismissal is happening. So that's what you're looking at here. And there's a fight, which we'll probably talk about, as to how the dismissal is being done. Is it with or without prejudice? And I could talk about that if you'd like, or I don't know if your viewers already know about that.
Adding to the skepticism, legal analysts noted neither Blake nor her husband pursued consistent professional treatment for their reported anxiety and depression. This absence of documented care undercuts the narrative of profound emotional suffering. Some speculate that if medical records were disclosed, they might reveal personality traits or histories contradicting Blake's victim story, possibly manipulation or refusal to seek help. Many now believe Blake's lawsuit was more about media strategy than a genuine legal claim. Filed to create a splash and shape public opinion, it may never have been intended to withstand the rigors of discovery, where private and sensitive information must be revealed. Faced with this, Blake's team seems to be peeling back claims and evidence, retreating step by step. The defendants refuse to let the case fade quietly. They insist Blake cannot have it both ways. If she wants to pursue emotional distress claims, she must provide evidence. The refusal only fuels doubts and threatens to unravel the entire case. As this drama unfolds, the public remains divided. Some stand with Blake, believing her pain is real. Others question her motives, seeing a performance carefully staged for sympathy. The next courtroom moves will be crucial. Will Blake reveal the truth behind her allegations? Or will contradictions destroy the case?
Yeah, so there are three types of damages typically in every civil lawsuit. There's what's called economic damages, which is things that you can calculate, like loss of earnings or loss of profits, as long as they're not too speculative. The other thing is called non-economic damages, which is emotional distress. And then the third one is punitive damages, which doesn't really come in until like the very, very end of the case or during trial. Now, those are things you can ask for money. There are separate legal theories that are emotional distress based. So one is intentional infliction of emotional distress, which is, I don't know, you drove your car into my house while I was watching and that caused me suffering, right? And the same thing can be with negligent infliction of emotional distress. So that's a legal theory that's based on the harm of emotional distress.
This saga reminds us all that fame does not exempt anyone from scrutiny. The courtroom demands truth and evidence, not just emotional stories. Blake Lively's legal battle is a real-life thriller of power, pain, and possible deception. It's a cautionary tale about public image, victimhood, and the high cost of fighting in the spotlight. So, what do you think? Is Blake Lively a genuine victim fighting injustice, or is this lawsuit a carefully crafted act to protect her image? Will her claims hold, or will lack of proof cause everything to collapse? Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on this gripping courtroom drama. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Every twist in this case could change everything. Remember, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, but the story does not end here. As the courtroom lights dim and the legal battle wages on, the tension between truth and perception reaches a boiling point. Blake Lively's team finds themselves cornered by relentless legal demands, facing an adversary unwilling to back down. The defense's insistence on transparency pushes Blake closer to an impossible choice. Reveal the hidden layers of her medical past or risk losing credibility entirely.
But that doesn't mean she can't ask for the non-economic damages through the other remaining claims, such as harassment or hostile work environment.
Now, and because she's asking for it without prejudice, that also, from what I'm gathering, opens up that she could bring it up later, correct?
Right. So if the dismissal is without prejudice, that means that as long as it's within the statutory, the statute of limitations, she's allowed to bring them back in a timely way. And Baldoni's folks are not really happy with that because I mean, it is true. You can't, if you're going to get rid of it to get away to avoid what she wants to avoid, which is not having the identifying her medical and mental health providers, then let's put this to rest for it to never come back. And I think that's a fair thing to ask in the middle of litigation.
In the hushed corridors of justice, whispers circulate about the potential revelations locked away in Blake's sealed records. What secrets do they hold? Will they confirm the narrative of a tormented victim, or will they expose cracks too large to mend? The public, once captivated by sympathy, now watches with bated breath, torn between hope and skepticism. At the heart of the courtroom, every glance, every hesitation becomes a piece of the puzzle. Witnesses call out, testimonies unveil, and under the sharp gaze of the judge, Blake's emotional facade is tested like never before. The courtroom becomes a stage where vulnerability and strength collide, where the weight of every word could tip the scales of justice. Yet beyond the legal, documents and emotional testimonies lies a deeper, more human story. Blake's struggle is not just against powerful defendants, but against the crushing spotlight of fame itself. How does one balance public persona with private pain? When the world watches, every tear and smile becomes a message, a performance, scrutinized for authenticity. As Blake continues to navigate this labyrinth, her every move is dissected by media, fans, and critics alike. Social media erupts with opinions, some rallying behind her, others questioning her motives. The courtroom. Drama spills into living rooms worldwide, turning this legal battle into a cultural phenomenon.
Well, that's what Wayfarer's side. This is coming in from the Mitzer Seelig, Fritz. There's a lot of lawyers in this case. I'm losing track of them all.
Yeah.
But Justin's side has filed back saying, not so fast. Very quickly saying, look, if you're going to withdraw this, then it needs to be with prejudice to ensure it can't be refiled. They have a motion already out to get her medical records, and clearly that seems to be the sticking point here, the pressure point that they've achieved. Well, if you're going to declare emotional distress, we get to see more of your medical records, et cetera, et cetera. She clearly does not want to do that, understandably, but that makes this more complicated. So motions are out, things have already been made to ask for them to, well, okay, we dismiss it with prejudice, without prejudice, rather, so we can maybe decide later, puts Justin's camp in a terrible position where now they're screwed if she wants to say no during this discovery period.
But the pressure mounts. Legal experts warn that without producing the demanded evidence, Blake's case risks collapse. The question echoes, can emotional distress be proven without proof? Or will the absence of medical records unravel the entire tapestry of claims? And what of the defendants? They stand firm, their strategy sharpened by every refusal from Blake's camp. To them, this is more than a case. It's a battle for truth, reputation, and accountability. Their legal team works tirelessly to expose inconsistencies, to challenge the narrative, and to ensure justice is served. The courtroom drama intensifies as motions are filed, objections raised, and legal chess moves played with precision. Every document exchanged, every argument made, adds another layer of suspense. The judge's decisions loom large, dictating the flow of the case and the fate of those involved.